Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where today Shane Hunn in the Tier 10 US Navy heavy cruiser, the USS Des Moines, is going to be having a bit of an emotional moment in this Tier 10 domination battle here on the Haven map. Well, I say it's Tier 10. I mean, technically it is, but there are only actually two Tier 10s on each team. The majority of both teams are either Tier 9 or Tier 11s. Yeah, there are 4 super ships on each team. And one of those Tier 11s is HMS Eagle. There's one on each team. Yes, that completely fair, balanced, and not overpowered even by the standards of aircraft carriers, Tier 11 super carrier. So, fun and games for both teams. Shane's team do have a bit of an advantage, because he's divisioned up with the Tier 9 premium destroyer, the USS Black, which comes with radar. And of course the Des Moines also comes with radar, which means Shane's team have 2 radars, and the enemy team have 1, 2, 3, 4, none. I can't help but feel that there was a better way for the matchmaker to organise this than by putting 2 radar on one team and none on the other. I mean, yeah, I appreciate that Shane and Tovey are both divisioned up, so clearly there's always going to be 2 radar on their team at least, but are you seriously expecting me to believe that there were no other Tier 9 or 10 radar cruisers queuing up for a battle at the time that Shane and Tovey got into this game? I mean, yes, of course there were, but the matchmaker doesn't take that into consideration. It doesn't care which ships have radar and which ones don't. The matchmaker just ensures that if one team has a carrier, the other team has a carrier. If one team has a super ship, the other team has a super ship. Both teams have 4 of them. 2 Eagles, 2 Satsumas, 2 Condes, and there's a split in the destroyers. One team, Shane's team, have a Yamagiri, and the enemy team have a Zorki, but beyond that, the matchmaker doesn't actually care what individual gimmicks the various ships that it's matching up come with, which is why you end up with one team that has all of the radar and the other team has nothing. And again, it's not that desperately bad under these circumstances, because there are only 2 destroyers on each team. I mean, that's really, really bad news for any destroyers that end up on this flank. Yeah, like the Zorki over there. Yeah, getting shot at by a Des Moines is not fun for any destroyer, because of course it's a heavy cruiser. I mean, there are some destroyers, like the Zorki, particularly the Russians, who have very, very heavy armour, and light cruisers can often find it very frustrating, and enemy destroyers in particular will find it very frustrating when they're firing the high explosive, because they're going to get a lot of shatters, but you're almost never going to get a shatter firing at a destroyer with the Des Moines 8-inch or 203mm guns. The caliber is just too large. Now, you might notice that, yeah, that's a lot of enemy ships over there. Fortunately, it's not an immediate problem for, well, what appears like 2 reasons. First, and most obviously, Tovey has dropped the smoke screen for him. So now he only really has to worry about his smoke fire penalty, which in this thing I think is about 7 kilometers. That's the distance at which you will be seen if anybody is within line of sight, regardless of whether or not you're in a smoke, if you fire your guns. But for the moment, at least, that's not going to be a problem. Not unless that Zorki gets any closer anyway, but he shouldn't, because Shane still has his radar to use, and the Zorki knows that. Now, Tovey has popped outside of the smoke in order to spot targets for him, but that means he's going to get seen by the aircraft from the Eagle. But the other reason why you might be thinking, well, yes, that is a lot of enemy ships, but it's not such an immediate problem, and here come all of the Zorki's torpedoes, is because Shane and Tovey appear to have a lot of backup. That's 3 battleships down to the south. But if you pay a closer look to the map, you will see that those 3 battleships are all heading the wrong way. They saw one Zorki, and they all thought, nope, I'm out. Well, the Izumo's still heading in this direction, but the others, the Minnesota and the Duncan, I'm struggling to make out what that one was, are both heading south as fast as their little legs will carry them. Which could be really bad news for Shane and Tovey here, because they're basically being left to it, as those battleships head as far south as they can get and still be within maximum firing range. Like the Satsuma all the way down to the south, who appears to be competing with the Azuma to see who can be the most useless member of the team. I think the Azuma is winning, because at least the Satsuma can fire at things from all the way down there. The Azuma can't. I mean, just because you can fire at something at maximum range doesn't mean you're going to hit them. Oh, the Izumo's just died. Yep, focused down by 2 of the tier 11s. I'll teach him not to try to come to the assistance of a teammate who's left on a flank, basically alone, except for the destroyer in his division. So the 3 things that Izumo has learned from this experience are 1, screw aircraft carriers, 2, don't try to help your teammates, and 3, when every other battleship on your flank is bailing out, you need to turn around and run away as well. The good thing about being in this position, completely abandoned by the rest of your team, is that thanks to the island on the left, he is able to at least fight all these incoming enemy ships one at a time. He can focus on the French super ship without having to fight that, the Zorki, the Satsuma, the Jean Bart, and the 2 Lions. Tovey comes in the black with another emergency smoke. Shane didn't actually need it, he still had sight of the Condor, without the Condor being able to see him. Here come its torpedoes. Tovey's going to have to do a bit of manoeuvring and slowing in order to avoid those, but he should be fine. Frenchie pops up again, despite the fact that nobody is outside of the smoke screen spotting him. Possibly because he has larger caliber guns. I mean, he has 240mm guns compared to the Des Moines 203. It's possible that he has a bigger smoke firing penalty, but the smoke firing penalty is now the least of Shane's problems, because he is now proximity spotted by the Jean Bart. He's within 2 kilometers, right on the other side of that island. And the Satsuma's no longer that far away either. Now that's bad news for Shane, but it's even worse news for Tovey in the black. He needs to get out of there, otherwise the French super ship is going to tear him a new one. He doesn't have to go very far though, and as long as he stays tucked in behind that island, he can keep the Jean Bart proximity detected, as long as it's within 2 kilometers. Just to make sure, there goes his radar. Here come more Condé torpedoes.
I need support.
Right. You're getting no help from back there. Don't even bother looking. Although I think he's checking to see whether or not anybody's trying to sneak around behind him, because the Jean Bart came out of nowhere. He's asking his team for support. That doesn't mean he's going to get any. The black dumps its torpedoes. Let's just count all of the mistakes that the Jean Bart makes here. First, he comes out broadside on at point-blank range from a Des Moines who's loaded with armor piercing, and just takes chunk after chunk of damage. Second, his 340mm guns cannot overmatch the 27mm bows of the Des Moines, and the Des Moines is angled, so he's basically doing no damage. And then he turns away, but all of his guns are in the front, so now he can't shoot. Sails straight into the second batch of torpedoes from the black. Shane saw that one coming, has already switched fire to the Condor, who's coming around the corner and not quite repeating all of the same mistakes that the Jean Bart did, but enough of them to ensure that he is going to die. 2. And his torpedoes are going to hit nothing. Oh, wait, here come the fun police. Yep, there it is. Shane lost 6,000 health to the combined efforts of the Tier 9 battleship Jean Bart and the effective Tier 11 supercruiser Condor, and he lost 7,000 health to a single strike from the Eagle. Oh, and he's on fire, so probably eventually more like 8,000 or 9,000, so almost twice as much damage from a single carrier strike. Well, that seems perfectly reasonable. Oh, the Yoshino. Look, this Yoshino's pretty bad, but I guarantee you he's not the worst Yoshino I've seen this week. I'm saving that one for a future World of Warships video. Apparently this guy also didn't get the memo about sailing broadside on in front of the Des Moines with armor piercing loaded at point-blank range. Wow, the carrier's back already? Well, there's one torpedo hit. Do you remember when the aircraft carrier rework came out and they said that you would only be able to control one squadron of aircraft at a time? And everybody rejoiced. Yay, carriers will no longer be able to cross-drop us and spring attacks from 2 separate directions at the same time. Yeah, about that. Well, anyway, moving on swiftly. So, that's one Jean Bart, one Yoshino, and a Condé. And here comes the Satsuma. Now he's angled in, so high explosive loaded. Oh, and he's rewarded with an instant fire, so that's nice. He is, of course, flooding from the second torpedo hit, although he's managed to get another heal underway. Here's the problem. If he gets spotted due to the smoke firing penalty, or the aircraft that are coming back for another go, the Satsuma's guns can absolutely overmatch his bow plating. Oh, Toby's been caught in open water on low. Yeah, he's dead. Yep, it was the carrier. Of course it was. But that Satsuma's 510mm guns can absolutely overmatch the Des Moines 27mm of bow plating and potentially, in fact probably, citadel him from the front. Which is why Shane isn't even trying to bow tank against the Satsuma. Instead, he's trying to troll him into shooting at his belt because he can't overmatch his belt armor. Still, oh, this is scary. Oh wait, no, he's missed completely. Okay. We'll take it. Now, remember, the Satsuma's guns can absolutely penetrate the belt of a heavy cruiser like the Des Moines if you don't give it enough angle. And this is the trick, isn't it? You want to troll him into shooting at the belt at a steep enough angle that it forces a ricochet check, but not at such a steep angle, which he kind of is now as he's edging back to try to get into cover behind that island, that instead of hitting the belt and ricocheting, it hits the bow armor, which it overmatches, goes through and citadels you from the front. Which probably will kill him if the Satsuma fires from that angle and hits him in the bows. It'll just cut right through like a hot knife through butter, and it will citadel him from the front. But what's the Satsuma doing now? He seems to have had enough. He's trying to bail out. Ah, it's the Yamagiri. The Yamagiri's popped around the other side of the island and launching torpedoes. So he's trying to thread the needle between the torpedo tracks, which he mostly succeeded in doing. But because Shane was backing off, because he didn't want to get citadeled from the front by those 510mm guns, it means he's missed the opportunity to get some broadside armor piercing into the Satsuma and finish him off. But honestly, better safe than sorry. He's still alive. The Satsuma is going to go down, if not to flooding, then to that third wave of Yamagiri torpedoes. And that means he just has to fight the Lion. Well, technically he has to fight two Lions and the enemy carrier is still in play. I mean, the team have won this. It's just a question of whether or not Shane can actually survive, because you cannot count on being able to angle against the Lion's armor piercing, because the Lion never fires armor piercing. It's a high explosive spammer. And why not? It works. That was a huge chunk of damage in a double fire. Although the Lion is by no means enjoying this return fire, and it's going to enjoy it even less because after earning the Confederate Award with Bill Halsey as his commander, the talent just triggered that means that these extremely rapid-firing, auto-loading 8-inch guns are now loading and firing even faster. If he can just get around the corner of this island and reacquire that Lion while he's showing broadside with his armor piercing loaded. No, he's hit the side of the island. Come on. Get out there. Do it. Oh, he's spotted. There he is. Oh, beautiful target. Not quite beautiful enough, though. The Lion survives. Again, does a massive chunk of damage. Again, sets a double fire. But he's going to get him. And that is 250,000 damage done. And only his third kill. And I think one more kill, and the team will be at 1,000 points. Which unfortunately means that the carrier is probably going to survive. Because of course it will. Still, get some more damage farmed on the other Lion. 254,000 damage. It's down. Game over. 250,000 damage and only 3 kills. Effectively holding down an entire flank on his own, although with the support of Toby John in the USS Black, against, let's see, a Zorky, an Eagle, a Yoshino, a Lion, a Satsuma, a Jean Bart, and a Conda. 7 ships. Now, sadly, Shane did not send in the post-battle results screen, where I'm pretty sure he probably earned well over 3,000 base XP for this. And it has become traditional at this point in the proceedings for me to therefore substitute my own hand-drawn and world-famous amateur post-battle results screens instead. But it's really hot and I can't be bothered. So instead, I'm just going to share with you this exclusive photograph taken of Shane when he arrived back in port, and just a couple of seconds before he had a nice lie down to give his back a much needed rest. Good job, Shane. And everyone else, as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.